One of the most important themes in The Crucible involves similarities between the Salem witch trials of 1692 and McCarthyism and the Red Scare of the 1950s. In the 1940s and 1950s, Americans feared the encroachment of communism. The Soviet Union was growing in power, and the threat of a nuclear holocaust was on the forefront of American minds. Eastern Europe had become a conglomerate of communist satellite nations. Throw in China, and Americans began to feel they were surrounded by a communist threat. Paranoia ensued. The village of Salem, Massachusetts, established itself as a religious community in the midst of evil. Salemites considered the forest the domain of the devil. Salem was surrounded by forest and odd happenings therein, and so paranoia ensued. In the 1950s, U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy made unsubstantiated claims that more than 200 card-carrying members of the Communist Party had infiltrated the United States government, yet he had no proof of this claim. In 1692, in Salem, delusional girls made unsubstantiated claims about the existence of witches, yet they had no proof. In the 1950s, those who were accused were assumed guilty, put on trial, and expected to divulge the names of other communist sympathizers. Failure to do so led to sanctions and many difficulties. Those who were accused in Salem were also assumed guilty, put on trial, expected to confess, and expected to accuse others of being witches. Failure to do so led to. In 1956, Arthur Miller testified before the House Committee on Un-American Activities about his political leanings, but refused to name others who had joined him in his pro-communist undertakings. Because he refused to fully cooperate with the court, he was subsequently blacklisted. In summary, during the Salem witch trials of 1692 and the Red Scare of the 1950s, communities under a great deal of stress hosted formal hearings during which members of these communities accused others of violating social standards. While these periods in history share many similarities, they were also distinctly different times that produced distinctly different consequences.